I bring the microphone down, and it's appropriate since I think my role on this panel is to talk about not economies of scale, but economies of small. Just to begin, what is JOSPT? We are a nonprofit science journal. We've been published since 1979. The journal was founded on a kitchen table by two enterprising physical therapists, one who focused on orthopedics and the other on sports. And they formed an alliance, and now 37 years later, JOSPT is one of the top journals in the physical therapy arena. Initially, we were outsourced to commercial publishers, Williams and Wilkins, and then briefly to Allen Press. Our member societies decided in 2001 that they thought they could get more advertising revenue than they were realizing through the commercial publishers. So they brought the journal, well, they separated it and separately incorporated it from themselves as a 501c3 organization. And we've been self-publishing ever since then. I have been with them for about most of that time, 13 plus years. Initially, their goals were to boost their advertising revenue. They thought that by doing that, they would be able to reduce to zero the contribution that they made, the orthopedic and sports physical therapy sections of the American Physical Therapy Association, to the journal's operations. Our publishing program today reaches an audience of orthopedic and sports physical therapists. 90% of them are clinicians. We are 100% paid in terms of our circulation. We reach about 22,500 in print and 36,000 around the world through a series of international partnerships that we've created since 2008, and I'll say a little bit more about later. Our primary product is a peer-reviewed journal publishing clinically applicable research. We are the official journal for the orthopedic and sports sections of APTA, and we're a recognized journal of a number of international partners. We publish monthly in print, and we are monthly and continuously publishing through a head of print articles online. We have developed some ancillary products. We know we can do more in this arena. Right now, we have a web-based continuing education program that we call Read for Credit, where people read an article, take an exam online, receive credit that they can apply toward their state licensure. And that's been, I would say, a modestly successful program economically, hugely successful in terms of branding and awareness of our readers of JOSPT. We've also partnered with another publishing partner to create webinars that are based on the research that both of our journals publish. What have been the results since we declared our independence back in 2001? Well, the stature and status of the journal has grown in the musculoskeletal rehabilitation profession and in STM publishing. We achieved a record impact factor last year, 3.011. We started off 15 years ago below 1, so that is a reasonable increase. We've seen a steady increase, partly because our impact factor has gone up in manuscript submissions. We're now fielding about 1,000 submissions, new submissions and resubmissions each year, and publishing roughly 100 to 115 papers a year in the journal. We have a significant international presence. We've got 37 partners in 26 countries. In 2008, we had 2 partners in 2 countries, so our growth has been fairly significant. We've really focused on reaching out to societies, groups in other countries that are like us, that deal with orthopedics and sports and physical therapy. Our web traffic has been growing significantly. We have a chart in just a couple of slides. We're now at 120,000 sessions per month, about 80,000 unique users each month. And we've been working on partnerships beyond our target audience. most notably working to reach out toward orthopedic surgeons who represent a lot of the referrals that physical therapists get and with whom physical therapists are always seeking to work more closely, more collaboratively. Our break-even budget has nearly tripled in 15 years. We're now at about $1.7 million a year. We've generated net income in the last 5 years of about $125,000. We have been able to plow that back into our publishing program. We don't have to turn that money over to our member societies, for which I'm very grateful. We have our staff has grown, but very modestly. We are small. We have 5 people full-time. We'll be adding a 6th this year. And then we have a couple of very important outside resources, our advertising sales director and a layout artist with whom we work. What didn't happen since we became independent, what didn't change? Advertising income did not eliminate the need for our member societies to contribute to our efforts to provide their individual members with print and online access to the journal. What they contribute is important to us. It by no means covers the cost to deliver those services to them. The loyalty that our readers have always exhibited toward JOSPT remains, and if anything, has strengthened. And our content is still very much focused on sports and orthopedic physical therapy, and that has proven to be an important strength. I thought you might be interested in this slide. It shows the dedication of our audience toward the journal. We've done an in-house survey, so I acknowledge the bias in that. We've done that each year that I've been at the journal, and we've consistently scored above a 4. When you ask our readers, how useful is JOSPT to you in your job, where 5 is extremely useful, we've always done at least a 4, and usually more like you see on this slide. This is last year's survey, sample size of 1392. Where do we make our money? Well, I suspect we are a subscription-based, we have a subscription-based business model. 57% of our income comes from subscriptions. This does include our international partnerships, which represent about $150,000. Advertising is also important to us at 16%. And what we've found over time is that that's kind of capped. There's only so much we can do there. We do our best, but it doesn't really grow. So we can count on it, but only for so much. The sections contribute 24% to our operating income. And then the 3% other includes everything from journal sales, article sales, which are really negligible, to the Read for Credit program, royalties from copyright approvals, and also now a growing business just beginning in providing publishing services to others. What have been the keys to our success? I would say at the top of the list really is creating and delivering value. The reason I think our readers say that we're useful to them in their work is because we try to give them material that they can actually use, that they find is beneficial to them. And that has been critical to us to do, and we try to put everything that we publish, everything that we put online through that filter. Is it going to make maximum use of our readers' time? And if it isn't, then we should think twice about doing it. It's been important to us to marry content excellence with publishing excellence. When JOSPT started to self-publish 15 years ago, we built the office from scratch. 4 of our 5 employees have their master's degrees in publishing. It has been very important to us to try and keep up with the level of science that we're publishing when it comes to the publishing expertise we bring to that effort. We've tried also, and I think have been successful, in balancing the needs of our readers who are clinicians with those of our authors who are researchers. And as you all know, those needs are very different. We've tried to innovate continuously, but because we're small, we are never going to be, nor do I believe we should be, early adopters of, and I've put technology here, apps. We've had our readers ask us for an app. Where's the JOSPT app? What we found is that with our web platform on Adapon, Literatum for mobile is very app-like, and really it made more sense to focus on developing our fundamental web platform than investing in an app and having to invest in that same app for a different platform. So we've not done that. We've also been very careful about certain policies. We have cautiously entered the whole open access debate. Because we are a subscription-based business model, we just need to be really careful about what we give away. And there is a fundamental sense, I will say it is my own bias, that if you're going to put something of value out, that costs something, that costs money, and free isn't necessarily at all better. We've developed partnerships, and this has been really important to our growth. We've done that with like societies in other countries, as I've mentioned, and we've also done it with publishers in related disciplines. There are additional fundamental management keys that I felt I needed to include here. I know you all know them, but I think we all need to be reminded of fundamentals. The need to make sure that we have stable governance. I know for us at the beginning, the first 5 years of self-publishing were fairly tumultuous because we were struggling with conflicts of interest on our board of directors, where our member societies really wanted more of what the journal had to offer than they could have. One society even set up a journal in competition with us, even though they had a material interest in JOSPT. We've had to work our way through that. I think governance is a necessary evil. You have to get it right, and when you do, that lays the groundwork for growth. We've practiced disciplined strategic planning. We're on our third strategic plan. That's been very important to us too, to get our stakeholders in a room to talk about where we want to go, and then chart a course that we can execute, and then work very hard to achieve that plan before your next strategic planning meeting. We've tried to leverage lessons learned from some business basics like that annual financial audit that we all must go through. Thank you, Enron. You've made it difficult for everybody, including small nonprofits. But I think there are some gems in how to run a business in those audits that, if applied, can really return to the bottom line. And we've paid attention, as I've said, to fundamentals from customer service to treating our employees well, to communicating with our board, trying to be as transparent in our operations as we possibly can. I wanted to just briefly go through 4 specific strategies that we've implemented at JOSPT that I think have made a difference in our ability to remain independent and to grow. One of them is to pay attention to our print product, which remains important. It's difficult. Our board frequently says, well, can't we just get rid of print? Can't we just get rid of that print bill, all that expense, print and postage? But it's very difficult looking at our audience to see a way to do that and to keep them and to keep their level of loyalty to us. So in 2007, we undertook a major redesign. We went to New York to Showstack Studios there and had a professional design of our journal. You can see a couple of pages here. That design has really won us points with our readers, with our advertisers, and it stood the test of time. We haven't had to go back and redesign. We've been able to tweak it, and I think it was an investment that has really borne fruit over time. It's been important to us to have a robust website, and we're very glad to be on Attapon's Literatum platform. We went through a major request for proposals in 2011, ultimately selected Attapon, launched on that platform in 2013, and you can see the growth in our web traffic since then. I expect by the end of 2016 we will have doubled our traffic since we launched on Literatum in 2013. We've also worked hard to expand our audience. When we began self-publishing, our circulation was identical to the circulation of our flagship journal, APTA's flagship journal, Physical Therapy. We needed to broaden that circulation if we were ever going to attract advertisers, for sure, and also readers. We really have done that largely through working hard on institutional subscriptions, but also partnerships outside of the U.S. And today, 38%, I hope by the end of the year, 40 to 45% of our audience comes from people who are not members of APTA, not members of the sections. We've also developed ancillary products. I mentioned Read for Credit, and webinars have been really important to us. We are still trying to figure out how to monetize them effectively, but we've partnered with the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery to put on webinars that are based on research that both of our journals are publishing. We've gotten a huge positive response from that. In our last webinar on ACL injuries and whether to correct them surgically or not, we had 4,600 people register for the webinar from around the world. More than 1,200 people watched it live. Since then, 700 people have watched the archived version of the webinar. Again, this is something we want to try to monetize. We know that our viewers on the PT side are very interested in earning continuing education credits for watching the webinars. So figuring out how to do that are some clear next steps. But those ancillary products have been important to us. What are our pain points? Well, maintaining and growing those institutional subscriptions, critical. You can see from how much they dominate our operating income, how critical they are. So we are continuously marketing the value of our subscriptions, and we're also trying to constantly assess the benefits of working with aggregators so that we don't undercut our direct subscription business. We're also working to sustain and expand our advertising income, but as I mentioned, that hasn't proved to be the boon that I think our section societies thought it would be when they started the self-publishing effort. Our market is dominated by moms and pops. We have a lot of physical therapists who have a great idea, and they implement it, and their product may do really well for them, but it's not big business, and so they don't have that much in the way of marketing dollars to spend. And we have PTs typically don't prescribe, so no RX income for us. Another pain point is navigating open access, balancing being responsive to the demand for open access, the legitimate demand for it, with our current subscription-based business model. We're in the midst of working on a hybrid open access policy and hope to introduce that in the next couple of months. And lastly, pros and cons of scale. It is true that it is not easy to be small, but I do think you then are able to deliver tailored products and services. You can respond more nimbly when your market needs something. But it's, again, always a trade-off between those economies of scale and a sense of being somewhat powerless internally with our sort of mother association, APTA, and externally with our suppliers, making sure that we're not so far behind the line, behind an Elsevier or someone else, that our needs are not taken care of. What is our way forward? These are some of the things that we are working actively to do. I thought I would share with you as a conclusion. We are hoping to more effectively leverage our web platform. It is a powerful platform. We think we can do more to generate income there if we use Attapon's smart group technology, try and leverage that to deliver more targeted information to slices of our audience in a timely fashion. We are working on a comprehensive marketing plan across all stakeholder groups, trying to make sure that we're delivering to all of them valuable products and services, making sure they know about what we have to offer. We want to monetize our content innovations. We're developing implementation tools for clinical practice guidelines that we hope to be able to sell. We would like, again, for webinars to earn continuing education credit for those who watch them. And we're providing publishing services to others. We're in the midst of building a website for one of our societies. For the orthopedic section, they have an independent study course program, and we are creating a website writing on top of our site at Attapon to be able to bring them into the 21st century, deliver their content in something other than PDF format. So those are some of the things that we're trying to do to continue to remain independent and grow. Thank you.